Hey there, Soul Shines. It's Michelle here, and I'm inviting you to wake up and live. And today we're going to talk about the law of polarity. As you may or may not know, the law of polarity is a universal law. That means it's true for everyone, and it's always true. It's kind of like gravity. Gravity is an earth law, and it is always true. Now, we can apply another law, like the law of thrust, and it will seemingly overcome gravity. The law of gravity is still in effect, but for temporarily, it's like you've defied gravity, right? But gravity it's there. There's nothing you can do about it unless you are intentionally applying other laws to change it. So, the universal laws are like that too. The law of vibration always exists, but you can use other laws to kind of transcend them for a little bit if it's important. Like the law of comparison is one that most of us use negatively, but sometimes it's beneficial to tune into that energy of comparison to remind us of how good we have it. When I was struggling with some situations, I used the law of comparison to remind myself that I was actually quite blessed. Unlike my pioneer ancestor, I have an ancestor that gave birth to a baby in the winter on the banks of the Mississippi River. So I truly was blessed that even though I was struggling that winter, I had a home, and we had blankets, and we had ways to keep warm even though the furnace wasn't working. So I was able to use that to get some perspective, and that actually might be the law of perspective. I'm not sure. I can't remember, and I haven't researched it again. And that's not the law I wanted to talk about anyway. I wanted to talk about the law of polarity. There's opposites in all things. That's the law. And one of the amazing things about it is that there is a potential for the opposite energy in everything. So, let's say that right here is neutral, and you are feeling sad, and you're this much below sad. There's potential in that energy. If you find the flip side of it, there's the potential to feel the opposite, and be up here the same amount that you're down here, if that makes sense. So here's how I was able to use it in my life recently. These last 9 months have been some of the most challenging months of my life. I was already in depression and struggle energy from when I fell and I hurt my knee. So when I broke my knee, it already sent me into it was a hard energy. I was doing the home in bed, not able to go anywhere, not able to talk to people thing months before the whole quarantine thing hit. So all of that depression that people started feeling then, I'd already been feeling it because of my knee. In fact, for me, I started going to physical therapy at the same time just before quarantine hit. And so I had that physical therapy, which for me was my first people outlet after months of being stuck at home. So anyway, I was already in that, then my mom died, and that added so many levels of feelings on top of it. And apparently I've been running some beliefs that if I'm not positive and happy, people won't like me. And so when I do fall into depression and everything, I end up losing all my friends, and I end up being so alone and having nobody to talk to when I desperately need to talk. So I've been evaluating some of the different beliefs and stuff that are holding that energy into place so I can shift it. But anyway, this puts me up to yesterday. Yesterday, I felt the loneliest I've ever felt in my life. Like, if this was where I felt lonely before, we're doubling that. And loneliness is an energy that I've felt pretty much my whole life. I mean, if you're running a belief that when you're not happy, people won't like you, so if you go into unhappiness, you push people away, obviously the times you need people the most is when I'm energetically pushing people away. So loneliness is a big deal for me. So last night I was in that spiral down, and I'd gone deeper than I've ever gone into it. It was pretty bad. But one thing that never has stopped for me is I've always sent out little pleas to the divine. Always, help me get away, send me an answer to this, help me find the answer. So I receive answers. And last night I got reminded of the law of polarity. And I was able to begin my shift out of my total downward spiral by saying, wow, if I'm this deep into it, I mean, like, you can't even see my hand because it's so low, below neutral. If I'm this low, and the law of polarity is true, and I know it is true, that means the potential to feel connected, to feel supported, to feel companionship, to feel compassion, all of those things that I don't feel when I'm feeling lonely, all that potential is the opposite. It's way up here. Holy cow, that's incredible potential. It also, well, like, thinking about all that connection, like, also kind of went, so there was some energy to look at there. But it was just that shift in thinking, look at all the potential here, was enough to kind of stop the spiral. And it was like my energy went, oh. And it like half of the spiral energy, that negative energy, just kind of poofed. And then I was just sitting there going, that's really interesting. And from that place, I was then able to continue to ask questions, continue to shift myself, because I was no longer in that spiral. I was able to use the law of polarity to flip me out of the spiral to where I just kind of stopped, and then I could choose into the spiral going up. I've had amazing ahas today about some of the things some of the deep beliefs that I've had, like this idea that I have to suffer alone. Some of the things, like I thought I had healed so much on my abandonment energy, and I found that there's another one that it's like, if you're not happy all the time, people will leave you. Wow, what a belief to have underneath everything, right? And what pressure I then put on myself to always be happy so people won't leave me. So many things that I've not been aware of until today, and all of that awareness came because I was able to stop the spiral just by simply becoming aware that with the opposite of what I was feeling, there's so much great potential. We're in this year of great adventure. I don't know if you've heard, in Utah, I personally haven't been affected by it, directly anyway. There have been 115 mile per hour winds going through Utah, taking out trees, causing a lot of damage, a lot of fear, and it's been crazy. This isn't what Utah usually gets, and I mean, like, those are strong winds. And, we had quarantine, and then right after that, Utah had an earthquake, and then we've had all of the different riots and everything. And then before even quarantine, before COVID became a thing, there was those horrible fires in Australia, and there's been horrible fires in the United States this year. Like, I saw a map of California, and I was just wow by all the little fires, like, over the whole state. There's so much going on. This year has been a year like we've never seen. And there's a lot of heavy stuff happening right now. But if you look at the law of polarity, if there's that much heaviness, wow, the potential for positive, the potential for light. Which are we choosing? Are we choosing to be in the light? Are we choosing to let go of that heavy energy and look for all of the miracles that are happening right now, all the amazingness? I heard the winds, I felt the winds, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like this. And I prayed and I asked for the winds to stop. And in my area, they calmed down. I don't know if that's to say that's why my particular town wasn't hit. But for me, I felt that peace of, I have heard you and I've calmed the winds by you. I was shocked to hear of the destruction that the winds had. But I had found that peace in me and I had not been affected by it. And I really believe that that was because I chose to step into the higher vibration and the peace and the light and the trust and the certainty that I am being taken care of. There is so much potential for awesomeness this year. So much. I've seen people having incredible miracles this year, but so many people are focused on that negative and forgetting about the law of polarity and forgetting that you have just as much potential for the awesomeness as people are experiencing the not so awesomeness, the awfulness, I guess you could say. So what are you going to choose to focus on? I love you guys so much. Remember to let your light shine big, bright, live, and beautiful. Be the incredible you that you were created to be. And I'll see you guys next time.